Hello and welcome to the show. Glad you're with us this week. We're talking about uphill and down. You know, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I stop my horse from bolting uphill, or how do I stop my horse from bolting downhill? Well, a lot of times that bolt is created by nervousness in the horse, but sometimes it's created by habits that we develop in ourselves. We're going to talk about how to fix those, how to change those habits, what is good etiquette and what is bad etiquette on riding hillsides. All of that's coming up right here on Discovering the Horseman Within.
Now the sun is rising slowly on the mountain you must climb, and the trail that takes you closer to the source. And you dream about the moment when you leave it all behind and climb up on that one true horse. That one true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride on one true horse. I'm gonna take a ride on one true horse.
Part of having a really well-broke horse is knowing what's going to happen before it happens and fixing that. So a lot of times when people talk to me about getting a horse that's really steady on a hillside, I think it's a matter of training that horse's response, not just allowing it to accidentally happen. So I'm on Stormy, and Stormy's a 7-year-old, and he's been up and down lots of hills, and this isn't something new. But I'm going to show you how I would respond with a young horse and how I would set the scenario up. Then we'll talk about etiquette and get into some things, how to have some fun on hillsides. So what I do is I pick a hill like this. We've got a pretty big hill here, and I just come out on my young horse, and I'm just going to make a nice approach up this hill, kind of keep him straight, and I'll pick my trail. And then when I get up to where I feel like there's enough incline to kind of hurry him, I'm going to pick him up and just turn him around and let him come right back down that hill. Now right here, he's likely to hurry, so I'm just going to pick him up, tip his nose slightly downhill, tip his nose back the other way, slow him down, turn him around, take him right back up. If he starts to hurry, I'm going to take him back up that hill. Now, why didn't I just turn him right back up the hill? Because if you pick up on one rein when you're headed downhill like this, you pick up on one rein and take his hindquarters away, you're very likely to flip him over and roll him down that hill, okay? So, sorry, Stormy. When I come down this hill, I want my horse paying attention. Now, a lot of people talk about zigzagging a hill, and that's not a bad thing to do. If you want to zigzag that hill, that's good. But if you want to head straight down that hill, when that horse starts to speed up and get a little speed to him, you need to just pick up that rein and just pick up this rein over here. One rein at a time, and then head him back up. And you want to keep that practice up until, and each time I'll go a little higher up the hill, because I'm helping him learn to utilize this hill and use his hindquarters. I'll pick him up here, and what I'm looking for is not a horse that I have to hold on two reins as we head down this hill. That's why, that right there is why I pick up on one rein. I don't want my horse to be able to brace his jaw against me and tear off down that hill. I just turn him a little bit, that forces him to slow down. Turn him a little more the other way, don't turn him enough to roll him over. What I'm looking for is a horse that I can drop that slack in that rein, pick out my trail where I'm going, and let him go. And a lot of times people say, well, Ken, I let my horse pick his own way down. Let me ask you this. Would you get your car out on the interstate, get it up to say 25, 30 miles an hour, push cruise control and hop in the back seat? Now, if you watch me drive, lots of people think that is what I'm doing. But I actually drive a little better than that. But you would never do that with your car, right? Why not? Because there's a good chance you're going to get in a wreck. In fact, there's a really good chance you're going to get hurt. My approach to a hillside, saying, well, I'm going to let him pick his own way down, that's like saying, put that car in cruise control at 25 miles an hour, and I just, hope for the best, I think we'll make the bottom. No way, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to pick a path down, and I'm going to ride my horse down that path, but I don't want to have to be hanging on his face the whole time. I'm going to pick a path up the same way. So when I go up, I very rarely attack this hill straight up, right? So what I want to do is I want to survey a hillside. This is a really rocky, rough hillside. And I've had to move horses and cattle off this hillside, and sometimes you have to hurry, and it's a rough hillside. But what I want to do is look at it and say, all right, how's it going to make a best trail? Well, right here in front of me, there's a pretty good angle and a pretty good trail. And you'll notice that a lot of times if you're out riding, if you take some time to pay attention to the country around you, you'll discover that livestock or wild game have gone there before you, and you'll find those trails. So when I do that, I like to come along and just click into that trail right there, and it's really faint. But there's that trail headed right up here. And then if I don't like the direction that trail's going, then I'll just look for a place like right here, there's less rocks, and I can turn back and head over here. And I just start picking my way up the hill that way, and right here's another one of those trails where the elk come down in the winter, and I can just kind of start zigzagging my way back up this hill. Now, all of us have had fun riding on the hills, but one of the things that I think we as people often forget is how hard this is. This is physically demanding on a horse. And when I was a kid, we would be invited to walk all day on a long ride if we got caught running our horses up a hill. And you see people do that. You see people just terrorize their horse up a hill. And if you don't have far to go, I guess that's okay. But when you run a horse from the bottom up that hill, you're gonna find him run out of energy, and he's just gonna wear out. And people will say to me, well, Ken, my horse likes to run up a hill. That's why I let him do it, because he moves better, and he gets his hindquarters under him and it gives him more power. You just try it. You come to the bottom of a hill like this and you see if running up it carries you to the top better. Now I know the horse has 4 legs and you only have 2. Bottom line is, his lungs have got to move his body. And he's gonna run out of air, and it's gonna zap all the strength out of his muscles, and you're gonna tear the guts out of him. And so what'll happen is you'll get to the top of this hill, but by the end of the day, your horse is going to have lost a lot of weight, a lot of energy. All in all, he's no longer physically as strong as he could be. This really came home to me when I was probably in my early 20s. And I rode with a rancher whose height and weight was exactly the same as mine. And it didn't matter what horse he mounted me on for the day. At the end of the day, he would always have more horse left than I did. And so finally I asked him one day, I said, Hip, what's the difference? Why does your horse always have more energy left than mine? He said, Ken, I walk up every slight incline. Now, I'd been raised not to run up hills, but little inclines, I'd trot up them. And so I started watching when we'd ride, and it wouldn't even look like an incline to me, and he'd break down to a walk. Now, he said, you can trot and lope downhill all you want. And I started paying attention, and all of a sudden I realized at the end of the day, I had a lot more horse left. If you're just out trail riding, having a lot of horse left maybe isn't that important to you. If you're trying to get somewhere on a horse, or you're gonna ride this same horse for days on end, you need to conserve that animal. And always you need to be respectful to him. So you wanna watch that terrain, and as you travel, you wanna notice whether you're going uphill or down. And like I'm side hilling right now, but as I turn on this side hill, this is uphill. My horse is raising his elevation. And it looks relatively straight and flat, but watch as I come back to you, right? So your cameras, you know, the cameras right now are below my belt buckle. So when I come back to you, you're gonna notice they're gonna adjust the picture, but I'm gonna be able to tell you we're going to have dropped 2 or 3 feet in elevation. That's not that much, right? 2 or 3 feet doesn't seem like that much. All day long, it starts to build. So for me, it's really important that I have enough respect for my horse that I try to give him the benefit of the doubt and make it as easy on him as I can. I know that horseback riding is to be fun, but let's make it be respectful as well. Now, we talk about seat position on a hill. And people, you know, will tell you, well, you lean forward to go uphill and you lean back to go downhill. All right, well, let's talk about that for a minute. Why do you lean forward? Because the horse bears most of his weight over his shoulders. And so I want to get forward where it's easier for him to bear my weight and he can push off of his hindquarters. And so as I start up this steep hill, I'm going to get forward and let him push with his hindquarters and not inhibit his back or his hindquarters. Now, how about when I come downhill? Really? people talk about leaning back. I'm just gonna sit up pretty straight. And watch what happened. The second my horse turned downhill, what did it do to my body position? I'm suddenly leaned back in the saddle. Well, no, I'm really not. I'm perpendicular, I'm upright. But because my horse's front end fell out from underneath of me, I'm closer to his hindquarters. When you lean back like this, and occasionally you might feel like you really need to brace yourself, but when you lean back like this, you put all your weight right here in the small of his back. And as you put that weight in the small of his back, it makes it that much harder for him to use his hindquarters to get underneath of himself and come down that hill. And so now all of a sudden you've got your horse on his front end coming down this steep hill. And as he goes to his front end, he's going to hollow out his back and your saddle's gonna slide forward. So when you get in country like this, if you lean way back, what you do is you put all your weight in this horse's, right over this horse's loins, over the small of his back. You force his hindquarters out behind him and all of his weight down on his front end. And so what happens is you lean back like that, it forces your horse to get really bracy on his front end. And so you're leaning like this, and this horse can't even use his hind end to get underneath of himself. Instead, he's bracing on his front. How do you know that's happening? Well, they feel funny as all get out, they don't move right, and your saddle starts sliding up their neck. And you'll say, I need a crouper, my horse has no withers, he can't hold a saddle. No, the truth is, you're shoving the saddle there. So you want to sit up straight and let that horse get his hindquarters underneath him, and then that's going to be the same any speed you're going, regardless of what you're doing. So a lot of times people will say, well, Ken, how on earth do I get this horse's hindquarters under me? I want you to pick a long hill like this, and I'm a long ways away from you right now, but I want you to pick a long hill like this, something you feel comfortable on, and start pushing that horse. So when you feel like he's on his front end, you hurry him up with your legs. Now, you don't have to go breakneck speed, but if you feel comfortable, push him up to a trot. Tell him, get that hindquarters underneath of you. If you feel comfortable, pick him up to a lope. Get that hindquarters up underneath of him. And what he'll start doing is he'll start thinking, holy cow, I need my hind end under me or I'm gonna slip, trip, and fall. And he's gonna get that hind end to where it actually does the job it's supposed to do. And then you're gonna come down this hill without having to hold on his face. And if you feel like you're losing him, speed him up a little bit. Say, come on now. And right away, he'll get that hind end up there and say, all right, I can do that. I can get my hind end under me. If you get way back in the saddle, you push his hind end out behind you. It's just like stopping a horse on a flat ground. Riding downhill into this situation is exactly about the same as sitting a sliding stop. If you get way behind you, you lock his hind end out. You want to stay up in the middle of this horse and ride him in the seat position that you would be looking for, without having to hold on his face. You want that slack, because then you know he's not bracing against you. The more you pull here, the more he's going to brace against you and push onto his front end. So you want to see that slack, even though you're directing him, you want to know that you're not holding his leg speed back, but that rather he's holding it back himself. Once I feel like he's kind of doing better, I start riding along and I'll look at a bank like this right here. We got this little bank, kind of a gentle way down right there. And what I'll start doing is saying, all right, where can I find something that's a little uglier? So right over here, it's a little steeper. It's not real long, right? We're not gonna go off something that's 200 yards to the bottom. Instead, I'll go over here and I'll find something that's 10 or 15 feet to the bottom. And I'll say, all right, right there, that'll work. And I'll just kind of drive him off something a little bit steeper than that. Say, all right, good deal. And then if I've got something else where I can come over here and drop down into one of these ditch bottoms, again, I'll look for that steep spot. And it's really easy and I can have a lot of fun right here. So I'll bring him over here and I'll just drive him down into the bottom of this and let him really drop down in there. And then I'll take him back up. And this will help my uphill because I'll pick out some garbage here and say, all right, this is all controllable. So I can kind of say, all right, here's some kind of choke cherry bushes that are kind of garbagey, but again, it's not too far. And right there, when I feel him pick up that speed like he wants to lunge, I'll just pick up that rein, turn him around. We aren't lunging uphill. I hate to see a horse run uphill. I want this horse to just handle himself really nice. So I'll bring him back through here, let him have his head a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna point him where I want him to go, but then don't pull on him. Let him have some slack there. That's what I'm looking for. That one step at a time kind of approach. And I can do that constantly, playing on these banks back and forth. I've started on a long hill, getting my horse's hindquarters underneath of me. Now I can just start saying, where's the steep spot here? There we go. All right there. He wanted to pick up, so I'll just pick up on this rein, turn him right here. Now come right around and go back up. I don't want this horse feeling now, because I loped down that hillside, doesn't mean he's got to lope all the time to get his hindquarters underneath of him. And that's kind of what he did. He kind of acted like, gee, I got to lope. No. I want him to set his hindquarters in the ground and just leave him there. Don't rush. Pick that rein up. I want you to go down that hill a little bit more relaxed, a little slower. Now he's burying his hindquarters really nice, and I like that. But now he's got to put enough weight on him to actually stay slow. So I'll just kind of let him stay right there. And I picked that rein up that time and checked it, and he dropped right back into his tracks, really nice, slowed down, but he's using his hindquarters. That's what I want to see. I don't want to feel like I'm picking up on two reins and bracing on him. This is another thing I really don't like. Now we're riding through hay up here that's, up over my saddle horn. I'm gonna reach down here and tear it out of his mouth. To me, when I'm riding, if a horse is reaching down grabbing grass, he's learning to pull on the bit. Now when it's at his nose, it's a little harder for him not to think maybe you should take a bite of that. But nonetheless, I'm gonna take it away from him and keep him busy. I'll ride through here for just a second and just keep him busy so he can't reach over there and get any of that. Then I'll go right back up here. Nice 1 foot at a time approach. That's what I'm looking for. I want this horse to just climb that hill 1 foot at a time. If we take the time to teach our horses to be respectful in the little things, then when we get to the big things, it's gonna go really easy. Right there, pick that rein up, shut that movement down. Good. That's what I wanna see. I wanna know that I have the kind of control I need so that no matter what, my horse is not gonna get me in a jackpot. So when I start up a steep bank like this, he starts to hurry, I just pick that rein up and change directions. Pick that rein up, change directions, 1 foot at a time. I'm not teaching this horse to climb hills by accident. I'm not just going out and terrorizing up and down hills having fun. Instead, I want to set a lesson plan that says, what's really important to me on the hillsides? Well, going up, it's really important to me going uphill that my horse take 1 foot at a time, puts one in front of the other and moves along. Coming downhill, it's really important to me that my horse, even if I'm zigzagging back and forth, that my horse drops down on his hindquarters and he keeps his own brakes on. You know what I'm saying? He sets his own speed and doesn't just rush to the bottom, so that I'm left holding on and grabbing the saddle horn and praying. My family and my employees and all the people that ride with me will joke about the trail rides that I take when no one's around. If I take a clinic group out, I'm pretty conservative, but then there's a trail ride that I go on that's just me and my family, and I go out and have a lot of fun. And I look like maybe I've lost my mind in some of the things I go and do. But the truth is, I have the confidence in knowing that my horse is totally under control. And I trust him to go and do exactly what I ask him to do. So when I start working on extreme obstacles or really being, call it wild for lack of a better phrase, I know my horse is there with me. I have a partner who's gonna take care of me, not get me in trouble. And that's what I'm looking for. I wanna find a partner who says, yeah, I can go do this. Think of it this way. Lots of motorcycle cops get into really tough situations, but they always have a partner with them, or most of the time have a partner with them who's there to back them up and help them. That's the way I look at riding a horse. You can get in all kinds of tough situations, and you can be the one that put him in those situations, but he's still going to be your partner and help you get out of those situations. Maybe you find yourself in that spot by accident. You took a shortcut home and it didn't work out good. What you want to know is you can rely on this guy. Is there anything wrong with getting off and leading him down a hill? Heavens no. Just remember, uphill or down, doesn't matter. When you go to step off, you never step off on the downhill side. You always step off on the uphill side. So regardless of whether that's right or left. So you look at the difference right here. I stepped off this horse. I'm in total control of the situation. Now, we take this same situation, watch the difference in the elevation. When I step off the downhill side, I'm gonna absolutely disappear, okay? So, if this horse loses his footing, where am I gonna go? If we're on loose footing, where's the horse gonna go? Where am I gonna go? If things get bad to worse, it's only gonna keep getting worse. So make sure your horse is broke enough to work both sides and then get off the uphill side. Now I know that to a lot of you that's pretty common sense and pretty simple. You'd be amazed how many experienced riders I see make that mistake. I'm standing here in these bushes and things are ugly. That's all right, I'm on the uphill side. I really can't get in too bad of trouble from right here. Okay? Trail riding or riding on the ranch and actually working is some of the funnest things I do. I love to get outside horseback and see this country that God created. It's beautiful. I've had the opportunity the last month to see a huge part of the United States horseback, and it's been a lot of fun. But it's really the most fun when you have a set of rules you follow, and it keeps you from getting hurt. You call it etiquette or call it rules, call it whatever you want. You just set in your own mind what is acceptable from my horse, what isn't. What will I do, what won't I do? What is he trained to do? And then you follow those steps, kind of ABC, 1, 2, 3. And if you do, everything stays together and it works out really good. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate having you. It's a lot of fun for us to get to do this show. And until next week, may God bless the trails you ride.
For more information about Ken McNabb Clinics, appearances, and products, visit kenmcnabb.com.
One true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride on one true horse. Gonna take a ride on one true horse.